All right, welcome back. This is the Series of Opinions podcast, episode number 23. And we are talking about the TV show Tiny Pretty Things. I'm KJ.
I'm Faith.
And I'm Moira.
And before we get started, we are just going to go right into our recommendations this week. Who has things they want to recommend?
I am so slacking on the recommendations. Like I've said, probably the past 3-4 episodes, I am knee-deep in Supernatural, so not many new things coming my way, but my one lonely recommendation is the show Cash Cab.
Oh my god, I love that show.
I love that show. I've always loved it, but I love the trivia and the way it's set up, and it's just a really good show to throw on when there's nothing else on. And I've been really binging it with my family this week, so
that's really fun.
That's fun.
I would definitely recommend that.
For the listeners, what episode of Supernatural are you on?
I'm on season 3 episode, I just finished episode 2.
Nice.
Oh, it's so good. You guys, I'm so hooked. I can't stop.
We're gonna have an updates episode shortly.
Very shortly. And we'll tell you all the thoughts.
Yeah. Moira, what's going on with you this week?
Okay, so last week I recommended 911 and 911 Lone Star, and this week it got put on Disney Plus with all the new Star stuff. So that's all I've done all week long is watch that from start to finish. I'm almost done season 2 of 911. So yeah, that is literally all I've done all week. So I recommend that again.
Yeah, now there's a spot to binge it. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to use my recommendations time to open a pop can on air.
Okay.
I hope that was satisfying.
That was a solid one.
This week I've been watching Sons of Anarchy. I'm watching it for a couple weeks. I think I'm on season 6 now.
Nice.
It's getting really intense. I'm actually on a bit of a break for the last couple days just because it's been a lot. A lot of people have gotten killed in the last little bit and I needed time to recover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
They just kill off Phil and I'm not okay. Phil was my favorite minor character. He never had any storylines, but he was always around. And I'm also watching New Amsterdam.
Love that show.
Mm-hmm. I'm just starting the second season now.
You're, I think, already past me. I think we watched it for a while, and then we just stopped. I'm so far behind, but it is such a good show.
And then I'm not watching it, but like Moira said, a bunch of stuff just went on Disney Plus, and you can now stream Station 19.
Yeah.
On Disney Plus. So if you haven't watched Station 19, which is the Grey's Anatomy spinoff, highly recommend that. It's really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my parents to at least watch that, because it's less overwhelming than friggin' 16 seasons of Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
And then they'll maybe get hooked enough to start that.
Yeah, for real. Anyway, that's all I've had. That's more time watching TV than I should have spent right there.
Good ones.
Exactly.
Good.
This is really good.
That was an amazing sound, too. Thanks for blessing us with that.
Yeah, it's lemon with lemon and lemon zest flavored water.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's not pop or anything. It's just flavored water, which is a thing I don't usually drink, so. But I bought a triple rainbow pack of it by accident, so now I drink it. So yeah, like I said, we watched the first episode of the Netflix show Tiny Pretty Things. We were looking for a show that we might all like that nobody had seen, and we, around the same time that we did our host pick series, we were thinking we should do one that no one's seen and just see what happens. And this show has a murder, it has a dance, and we're like, yep, that sounds like all three of us.
Yeah, sounds like something we would enjoy.
Yeah, Faith and I enjoy the murder shows, and Moira likes dance, so this seems like a good crossover interest for us. So, if you are going to watch this episode, the first episode, you should probably do that before you listen to this podcast, and also, there's some sex scenes that are fairly explicit.
Yeah.
So just be warned. I think that they're fine, but yeah, they are a little on the steamy side. So that might be a turnoff for some people.
Right.
So let's just get into it and start off with, did you guys like the episode? What was the watching experience? Was it positive, negative? How did we feel about this as a whole?
Yeah, I liked it. Overall, I thought it was a positive watching experience. I felt myself getting, slightly bored at some times.
I agree.
Okay, I didn't know if it was just something with me or what. But yeah, I kept checking
it was a little slow.
Yeah, I kept checking like how much longer was left.
Yeah.
At some point, I felt like they wanted you to like and like feel strongly about every character right off the bat without like setting it up a whole lot.
There was a lot of storylines. It was hard to keep track for characters we don't know. Like, they just expected us to know who everyone was off the bat.
And care.
Yeah, and be invested in them. Like there's a guy, I still don't know what his name is, and he was he was around for like the whole episode. He was involved in like 3 storylines, and I don't know his name.
Yeah, no, I think it's based off of like a book or something. I don't remember.
Yeah,
okay. So like they expect us to know what is happening and already be invested was what I got from it. Like we already know what's happening right off the bat.
I agree with that, and I think that that's a little bit problematic. There's lots of shows I've watched based off books that I haven't read. Gossip Girl, You on Netflix. You is so good on Netflix, and it's based
really
off a book. I mean, you don't need to know anything about the book to enjoy the show, and I think that if you can't make your pilot work without having knowledge of the book, then like just need to be tweaked a little bit. It was pretty good overall, but there was some there was too many storylines introduced all at once and too many characters introduced all at once, and I was having a hard time in some places. It was a lot,
but it was really good.
It was really good. Like, it felt like almost there was the book. Like, I didn't realize it was based off of the book, but it felt like almost there was the book, and then this is like supposed to follow the book almost. That's how much I felt like you're supposed to be like invested in these people already. And I also felt like you were also kind of supposed to be invested / know stuff about ballet. I felt that was a little bit, I don't know, the viewer themselves starts to feel like out of place a little bit. I felt it a little bit hard to get invested in and follow as far as actual ballet stuff.
Fair.
Or that might just be partly like they're relying on us liking the characters and
enough to
be invested in the ballet part of it. But I really liked the acting. The acting's great. And the characters are interesting for sure.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that.
Yeah.
Moira, did you have anything to add?
Like, there was a couple scenes, like, I don't really watch, like, thrillers or anything, that I was like, oh yeah, this is a thriller, okay.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm very intrigued by the, like, murder mystery aspect of it. It's very interesting, and I'm a dancer, so I'm, like, mesmerized by the dancing.
Right.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
I was not expecting to be as invested in the ballet scenes. Like, there were some scenes that were just ballet. There was not a lot of mystery happening, and I was somehow, I was expecting myself not to be invested in them, and I was surprisingly invested. I wasn't expecting that. So, I don't think that the ballet portions are bad.
No,
I think it's a really interesting set for a murder mystery.
Yeah, I think that's
for sure.
Who had anybody have like particularly strong thoughts towards a particular character, a favorite, or I'll be generous. You can have a least favorite off the bat.
Well, I really like June. I don't know why. She's probably really guilty.
I also really like June.
Okay, yeah. Because, of course, they lead you to, like, Nevaeh and Shane, who I may call Daniel at some point.
Is he
from the
Daniel
next steps.
Oh.
Literally, I was so excited when I saw him.
I'm so glad for him that he, like, is in this. It's so amazing. He was on the next step on Disney Channel, this dancing show that Emily used to be obsessed with. And
I
also
missed
Moira,
most of that craze.
Yeah,
so.
Emily and I used to talk about it all the time. I was so excited.
But yeah, they really kind of lead you and set it up for you to like Nevaeh and Shane, who are really good. Like, they're great and likable characters. Like, who doesn't root for, the underdog?
So. Me too.
Yeah, And of course, who doesn't, like, absolutely despise the mean girl? But I really like June more than I thought that I would. She really stands out for me.
Nice.
And I really like her voice, and she seems, like, really interesting. I felt like she was set up kind of / introduced as, like, the mean girl's kind of sidekick.
Yeah.
But as it went on, she actually, like...
She had her own things going on.
Exactly. And I hope that she didn't push Cassie, because I really like her.
Yeah.
Moira, how did you feel?
I really liked everyone pretty, like, so far. I don't know too much about them yet, but I really liked Nevaeh. I think she's gonna be a very interesting character. And I was also very intrigued by Officer Cruz.
I was like, very excited.
What's her purpose?
To recognize Officer Cruz. She's played by Jess Salguero. I hope I said that right. who is plays Marianne on Letterkenny, one of the female hockey players.
Nice.
Okay.
And I was very excited. I saw her face. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know where I know your face from, but I definitely know your face. And like, that's where I knew her from.
That's awesome.
So yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think it's either Nevaeh or June or Shane.
Right.
There's so many characters.
I think that they set Nevaeh and Shane up to be likable characters, like Faith said. Like, it's hard to dislike them. There's nothing about them really to particularly dislike yet at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas like June already had some like moments that like weren't great, but then had some really interesting moments. So it's one of those three.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I guess before we move on, I'm just gonna, this is a little late in the episode already to even do this, but in case you literally haven't watched this show and you don't intend to watch this one episode of it or any more of it, it's a show that takes place at a ballet school, a very high-end ballet school, where people go to become professional ballerinas. And one of the students has been pushed off of a roof.
Yeah.
And now a new girl has taken her spot in the program, but there's still all this mystery about who pushed Cassie Shore off the roof. And with that, we are on to the opening scene. Who had opinions on the opening scene? Because if y'all didn't, I did.
Yes. You can start. I started the last couple times. I want to know what you thought.
So there's no reason ever to do ballet on the edge of a roof, especially by yourself.
Oh my god, right? Why are you dancing on the ledge?
Aesthetic. It's
Why
for
are
the
you here?
aesthetic.
No, we later found out this is a 4-story building. It's not like she's like on like a roof of like a house. She's on the top of an apartment building. She's 4 stories up.
Ridiculous.
Yes. Even if she hadn't been pushed off of this roof, the chance that she could have fallen was so there. There's a person in a hoodie that pushes her, and I was just like, am I watching Pretty Little Liars?
I know, right?
And then I didn't realize that the building was only 4 stories. It's hard to judge what city it was in. I think we later found out it was Boston or Chicago. I already forget which one it was.
I think Boston, but it's been a little bit since I've watched it, so.
It was yesterday for me, but I forgot.
Oh, okay.
And I literally just didn't write it down. We didn't know that in the opening scene, which city it was in, so I had assumed it was like New York City, and this building was super duper tall, so I was like, this body's very intact when it lands on the ground.
Same, that's what I put too. There's so little blood when they have it all taped off, and yeah. And we assume that she's dead also.
Yeah, we assumed that she was dead, which was apparently not the most correct assumption we could have made. And then also, I like the character Nevaeh. I have always hated the name Nevaeh. I don't like it. It's heaven backwards, which is the reason most people like it. Most people pick it for that reason. And I
did know that, except for hers isn't spelled that way, which is weird.
Is it not? Okay, I didn't look.
I looked because I was spelling it that way because that's how I know the name.
Yeah, that's how I was spelling it backwards.
And I think at some point in the outline that we had, somebody spelt it a different way, so I looked it up, and it's spelled Niveea, I think it is. I have it somewhere, but
okay, if it's not spelled that way, then I retract my dislike.
Yeah, Niveea. Yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, then no, I'm back in. I don't hate it. I just don't like it when it's heaven spelled backwards. I think it's dumb. I think that's a dumb thing.
Why?
I just don't like it. I think it's. I don't like when people like spell names in like unnecessary ways. I have a name that has a lot of variations, but like they're all sensible variations. Like all the letters make sense. But like I literally was reading a thread and it was like someone named Forrest, and it's like 4 S's and a T. And I was like, nope, I'm out.
Okay. I respect that for sure. I'm kind of neutral as far as the heaven spelled backwards version.
I think it's cute.
Yeah, I think it's a nice idea. I think because a lot of words don't like work that way. So I get why people like latch onto that because it's so pretty when it's backwards.
Maybe I'm just jealous that my name backwards is nonsense.
Yeah, same.
And if you do my initials backwards, because I go by my initials a lot, it's JK, and I don't. A, just kidding, and B, JK Rowling, neither of which I want to be associated with.
True.
So, anyway, those were my thoughts on the opening scene. Yeah.
Well, the thing that stood out to me the most when it started is the music. The music is so cool and so beautiful. I loved it in the whole show, especially in the
show was good music so far.
Great music. like KJ said, her dancing is amazing, of course, but, like, why are you dancing on the ledge? Is it, adrenaline?
No one's even there, so you're just doing the aesthetic for yourself.
Exactly. Is it, like, I wondered if it was maybe to force herself to, like, have good balance, because if you don't have good balance, like, you
get a balance beam.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I have a thing just to say, because dance movies love the dancing on the roof trope. It's a thing.
Okay.
They like you to be dancing on the edge of the thing, so it's just in so many. Like, I don't understand why, but yeah, it's a thing.
I have this issue in, like, every movie I've ever seen that it happens in. I watched The Greatest Showman last night, and there's a lot of rooftop dancing there, too.
Well, especially because later in that very scene, she falls off the roof.
Yeah.
So, it's so glaring.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, it's, like, literally, like, she's not even trying to impress someone. Like,
yeah.
She's alone on the roof.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Be safe and sensible about your life.
Yeah, don't dance on a ledge. That has been our PSA.
Yeah.
It looks cool, but it's not worth it falling.
I mean, at least, like, take a video, I guess, if you're gonna do it for the looking cool. I don't know. But,
especially, like, let's consider the reaction. Like, Betty falls later in this episode, like, literally from, like, Shane lifted her up and she fell.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, everyone freaked the hell out. Imagine if you were dancing and you fell 4 stories.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
Just don't.
We need to move on. We've made this point clear.
So I really liked the voiceover about flying. I thought that was really cool. While she's falling. And then, like, the rose falling with her was cool imagery. I thought that was neat. I also said, like, there probably would have been more blood when she hit the ground. But, like, from watching true crime shows, of course. And then she isn't actually dead, spoiler alert, so, okay, I'll forgive that. And then I also kind of had an issue with, like, how it was shot as far as, like, the hooded person goes. I felt like it could have been done a little bit better.
Right, like, it's just, like, so obvious it's, like, a person in a hood.
Exactly.
So
and
we don't know who they are. Like,
who wouldn't be, like, suspicious and freaked out if someone that you know came up on the rooftop with their face all covered and in a hoodie and, like, all acting all creepy and sus?
I think that's something that maybe we didn't mention. I mean, we're just assuming that, like, one of the suspects is one of the other people at this school.
Yeah.
But, like, Cassie talks to her attacker before she gets pushed off the roof. Like, she knows she knew who this person was.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just wish, like, it was shot, like, you could see their shoulder or something.
Yeah, like just not in a hoodie.
Kind of out of focus. Not just, like, here's the person and you just can't see their face. Like,
yeah, it felt just, like, very, like, Pretty Little Liars and villain, like, with the hoodie. The hoodie seems, like, a little bit unnecessary and almost, like, a little bit lazy. In, like, how they're setting up this, like, mystery person that pushed Cassie off the roof. Like, there was a better way to conceal their identity, I think.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you were on the rooftop, like, practicing your dance moves and someone came out looking like that, you'd be like, why are you dressed like that? Why is your hood up? What are you doing?
Yeah. It can't be that cold. She's out there dancing and, like,
in a dress.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were my thoughts.
Moira?
It's fair. You guys covered so much.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
No. I thought it was, like, a very, very cool scene. I thought the dancing, like, was very beautiful, and, like, the song Monster was just so good. But, yeah, everything else that you guys said, I completely agree with.
Amazing. Do you want to move on to the opening credits, then?
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. Moira, how about you start us off there?
I didn't have much to say. I thought it was, like, so beautiful and, like, super eerie at the same time, which I thought was really cool for what the show is supposed to be. So, yeah. That was all I had for that one, actually.
Faith?
Yeah. I also thought it was super gorgeous, like, so moody and dramatic and, like, fits the kind of elegant but also, like, eerie vibe of the whole show. And then, of course, like, the music for the whole show is amazing. So, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Aesthetically, it had, like, a weirdly Teen Wolf intro meets Grey's Anatomy intro, but it was really short.
Yeah.
But, like, it had that kind of, like, darkness into, like, a character, like, and then also kind of, like, contrast ballet with, like, murder.
Right.
In, like, you know, like, Grey's Anatomy contrast, like, social life with medicine in back when they had a theme.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so, like, that was my thought. They're really short opening credits, which is fine.
Yeah, I liked it. Honestly, I had to go back and rewatch them because when I was, like, writing my thoughts down, yeah, exactly. I'm like, what was it even? Like, what is the whole thing? I couldn't even remember, like, from start to finish. Because, yeah, it's so...
Yeah, they're brief, which is cool. That's fine.
Yeah, I like
it's more
it.
of a title card than anything else. Like, it's...
Exactly. I liked the length of it, for sure.
Slightly lengthy title card. Slightly longer than Riverdale, but not much.
Right.
All right, so we're getting into some things that we liked or disliked about the plot, specifically. I weirdly don't have that much to say, so if someone else wants to start, that's cool.
Okay. Well, I meant to organize my notes a little bit more, so this might be a little bit jumbled, but jump in whenever.
Okay.
So as far as the plot goes, I think it's really interesting. I think the bit with Ramon is interesting. The guy...
Yeah.
What even is he? Like a
so
choreographer?
He's like a choreographer. He works with like the actual ballet. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Like he's like the who they will work under if they graduate, like, and move up. Yeah, and make it. Mm-hmm. So him being texted, so Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, someone is threatening him. That's a really interesting plot line that we honestly didn't even have much time to think about.
I really liked that. And then, of course, like, everyone suspecting each other of pushing Cassie. I thought that was really... I like that. That everyone kind of just assumes that she was pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can feel kind of cliche to me at points. Like, new girl at the school, picked on by the mean girl who's secretly jealous of her. And then she makes friends with the kind kid who's kind because he's an outcast in his own way, meaning, like, Shane and Nevaeh. I think, like, the limits that these people push their bodies to is interesting and crazy, horrifying to see.
We've been introduced to two characters who might have some serious issues with food, right?
Yes.
June, and that's the guy whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, we assume he has some kind of, like, bulimia.
Yeah,
I believe.
He's purging, he's keeping, like, a really strict diet of everything he's eating, like...
I mean, how can you not?
Yeah.
When they measure, like, your bone density and your flexibility, and...
It's insane.
It was interesting that whenever Nevaeh was being toured around her thing, it was specifically mentioned if she does get too skinny, she's gonna get cut. Like, you're not allowed to get anorexia, which is a weird thing to just say you can't do this and, like, not offer support on, but
yeah, totally.
That's a thing that, you know, you need support with, but obviously, like, you don't just decide you're not gonna have anorexia today, but
exactly, like, you're under
but
this...
it is interesting that's something they're like, we don't want you to be that skinny.
You need muscle density to be able to hold your body and do those moves.
Yeah.
Which, like, you need support.
But there is also pressure to stay thin as well, because
of course.
It's so aesthetic.
Yeah, and so it's, like, really clear that they're under these, like, physical expectations, but absolutely no support for it whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's totally about physical more than mental health, I guess.
It makes sense that this would be a plotline. It actually does really help with the feeling of, like, this is a ballet school.
Yeah,
but I was just, like, I wasn't expecting us to have time for this, and then to have two separate characters introduced that both have, like, potential issues regarding, like, the food that they're consuming is really interesting.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
They really did fit a lot into
one episode. It's impressive. A lot of storylines and characters were introduced, like, a lot.
So yeah, they're, like, total crazy athletes, like, total athletes. I just think that the school is so brutal to have your bone structure and, like, every aspect of your physicality totally scrutinized, and
we need pictures of your parents, see how you're gonna develop.
Yes.
Yep.
And of course, like, never being enough, there's also, like, there's always something. Whether it's dancing or your physical form, like, that you can improve. You just, like, couldn't pay me enough to attend that school. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And of course, like KJ said, like, of course they have kids who struggle with eating. I assume probably most people there probably have some kind of rough relationship with their food / their body.
Slash their parents,
slash their parents, slash themselves.
Yeah, it's gotta be tough. I mean, they're just, like you said, they're just super athletes, like,
yeah.
And that's the world of competitive athletics, is there's gonna be those pressures, like.
Totally, yeah. It just looks so insufferable.
Yeah, it looks tough.
Yeah, so I feel like they didn't get me totally hooked all the way with the characters. I don't know. I'm really interested, but I wasn't like, oh my god, I gotta watch the rest of the season right this minute. The acting is super good, like I said before. I loved that Cassie ends up being alive. Like, she's
Yeah,
in the hospital.
that was surprising, but I loved that as well.
Yeah.
Because we assume that she's dead the whole time, but no one ever said that she's dead. She'll just always said that she fell.
Yeah. And we just all assumed that she had died.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was on us. That was our bad.
And I still don't really know how she survived. She landed on her back and hit her head, but...
4 stories is not, like, super high. I mean, it's definitely high.
it was on
Yeah.
the cement.
Yeah. She's gonna be in bad shape. Whatever's going on.
It's
Like,
not
we
gonna be
don't know what her condition is. We just know she's barely still alive. And that seems to track based on what we know.
Yeah.
But we don't know specifically what's wrong. It seems like at least her leg is broken. And she's, like, on, like, a ventilator. So, like, we don't know.
Mentally not that great.
We just don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She could be in like a medically induced coma, and like her brain's fine. Her brain might be damaged. We don't know.
Yeah, and then the nightmare, too, I thought was crazy. I really liked...
God.
I mean, it was so scary,
It
and
was
I hated
scary,
that part with
but,
the
like-
foot. Oh my god, I hated that so much.
Yeah.
But I liked it in the scope of the whole show.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
nightmare
and
really
then-
brought forward another plot line as well, which is that there's
Yeah.
something with Nevaeh's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she didn't have a photo of her mom for her file. She was calling out to her mom in her dream. Like, there's something there as well that we don't know
for
about, too. There's so many plot lines happening.
Oh, so many.
So much.
Yeah, and then I have opinions on the last scene, but we'll get into
Save
that
those.
later. Yeah.
Yeah. Moira, do you have anything to add? I think I have, like, one more thing maybe to talk about.
Not too much. I spent like most of the first episode trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Just because there was so
It was
much.
a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it would take a few episodes to actually feel invested in all of the characters because we got
Yeah.
introduced to so
So
many
many.
all at once. But I think it was really good.
I want to take a minute to talk about the Whitlaw family. So
Yeah.
Betty, our sister, I think her name Dahlia or something like that.
Gosh, why can't I remember? And then also, I think that the mean girl, I think, is just Bet.
Is it?
I
It's
think.
spelled Bet, and I couldn't remember if they called her that or if they called her Betty. I don't know.
I think
think-
it's Bet.
Okay, we're gonna call her Bet.
Okay.
the
Sorry if it's
purpose-
not.
yeah.
But I think it is.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk about their family for a bit
Okay.
because their family was actually featured pretty prominently in this episode.
Yes.
So we didn't know that the two were sisters for like until halfway through the episode.
Mhm.
So the older sister, who I'm gonna call, no, I don't know what her sister's name is. Faith's Googling, I think.
I am. Why is she so far down the list?
She's not like a super main character in the first episode, and I don't imagine she will be. She's already graduated from the school that they're in, and she's made it big. Yeah.
Delia.
That
yeah.
makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, so Delia's already made it as like a big person in ballet. She's graduated, she's moved on, but like she's still present. And then we also meet their mom.
Yeah.
It seems like they're pretty rich.
Who is also just, she's in Heartland right now.
Oh yeah.
It was so weird to see because I watch it like the day after I watch Heartland. But
Yeah.
just throwing that out there.
Oh my god, yeah, she totally is. But yeah, so like their mom seems very intense, and I just like it seems like they're maybe setting up for like a pretty stereotypical like mean girl redemption.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, she's mean, but like she's living in her sister's shadow and her mom puts all this pressure on her and she's not as good as she wants to be. So yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up because that was a plot point that I don't know if I love. I liked the reveal that they were sisters and that she
Yes,
had
me
this
too.
sister. I just think that like this kind of like this mean girl's mean because she's under all this pressure from herself and her family is like a little overdone.
For sure.
You could have did
For
without
sure.
it, you know?
Yeah, and the fact that like Nevaeh looks up to Delia so much, like
Yeah.
she's like her idol, and she gets her shoes and everything. So
Yeah.
there's also that. But I agree. I think it's a little bit overdone, like a little bit cliche. That whole mean girl situation.
Yeah, and then also something I liked was there's a moment with Shane and Nabil and Nevaeh where they talk about how like they're not the straight white ballet like people everyone expects them to be,
Yeah.
and like you know like they're different than everyone else really in the industry. They don't look like other people in the industry, or they don't present like other people in the industry. And I was like, you know, there's a lot going on in this episode, but like I guess it's good that we're just starting off by acknowledging that right off the bat. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like an added thing that they have to deal with. Those three in particular.
In particular, yeah.
Yeah,
I assume
agree.
also the other guy who Shane was sleeping with also, like, he doesn't seem like he's out, really.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So, yeah, so I guess he's not, like, openly facing the same kind of discrimination that, like, Shane might end up facing, but...
Because that's the same guy that was sleeping with Bet earlier in the episode, right?
Yeah, I think his name's,
Yeah.
like, Scott or something.
I have no idea. Jeez. Well, I mean, you're getting a really authentic version of, like, how we would talk about this, just the three of us.
Yeah.
Like, we don't... I mean, if we don't remember the name, then that's just
Yeah,
something about the show.
This is how we just talk to each other. When
Exactly.
We're not... And I think that's what we were going for by picking a show that we all hadn't seen, was like, let's just get together and talk about a show like we do.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we're going to move on to the dancing. And Faith, do you have anything to add, or should we just let Moira talk? Moira's
You go right
dancer,
ahead.
yeah. Girl, tell us about the dancing in the show. Is it good? Is it not good?
So, first up, I think it is one of the better represented versions of what a ballet school actually is like that I've ever seen on TV. Because ballet is so hard.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Like, dance is a really hard sport and art form, and ballet is, like, the hardest form of dance.
Right.
It's not only, like, you're supposed to be, like, mentally there and present, and you have to smile all the time and do all that, but you also have to do all those awful things to your body. I thought it was really well done, like, really, like, the dancing was beautiful. I thought it was great.
That's good. I'm glad that it's not, like, terrible.
But I don't know if you guys, like, caught the scene where the, like, woman who runs the school was, like, injecting cortisone into her foot, like, to help with the pain. Because that's a thing that like, ballet dancers do, who do it for a long time, because, like, you destroy your feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
just looking at her
wow.
feet. Oh my gosh.
It's like, I know people who, like, can walk on the knuckle of their toes because their feet are so stretched.
Yeah, that's
I have
wild.
no desire to ever do that, but I have so much respect for people who are ballet dancers. But yeah, I thought it was really well done. Like, I think, like, the dancing was really, really good. And they have, like, people who are professional dancers. Like, most of the people whose acting credits are, like, their dance shows, or they don't have any acting credits because they've only done other dancing stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like, the only actress I recognized was the one that played Officer Cruz, so...
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I find it kind of hard sometimes watching them get, like, criticized, because I don't see any difference whatsoever when they do something, like, the first time, second time, third time, and he's, like, yelling at them.
I think that's really the point.
Yeah, and it's just, like, totally beautiful and
It's
perfect
like,
to me
if you're
every
not
time.
a ballerina, like, you don't see it. If you don't know
Exactly.
ballet, you don't see it. But, like,
Yeah.
if you know ballet, then you're like, this is totally wrong, and you're doing it wrong, and it has to be perfect. Like,
Yeah, and you're just not
I think
getting
it's
it.
fine. I think it's fine if we don't see it.
Yes, for sure. I just thought that was interesting. And then I thought it was beautiful every time. And then I also think it's really cool that Nevaeh did hip hop too. And she
Yeah, and
does that for
gymnastics,
fun.
too.
And gymnastics, I didn't catch that. I don't know why I didn't catch that, but she had like hip hop videos and stuff.
Yeah.
that they
I think
were
when she was doing
watching.
the interview, she said she did gymnastics first, which is also really, really hard on your body as
Yeah,
well. It's a really hard
absolutely.
sport on your body. If you do that competitively, like, it's rough.
It's so much.
It's the same thing with the doctors and the examining your body and, like, how you're gonna grow. It's that same kind of, like, level of harsh.
Scrutiny. Yeah. But yeah, anything you wanted to add about the dancing?
No, I don't know anything about dance. I quit ballet when I think I was like 4, and then I did like jazz for 2 years, and then
Fun. I didn't
at
know
the
that.
most, and then that's how Moira and I met.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
There's a picture of on my wall back home, and
That's so
like
cute.
it was before I was even like really friends with Moira, but it's
Back when you were itty bitty.
really small.
Aw.
So I don't have any dancing opinion because I have no experience.
Fair. Me neither.
So I guess we're gonna move on to talk about the final scene, unless we want to talk about anything else first.
Well, I have some in the other section things to talk about, but I can talk about that
Yeah,
after.
we'll leave it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on to the final scene. Some opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, who wants to go first?
I have some.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I thought that's probably my favorite part of the whole show. The whole episode was the end. It's so creepy. It's just this quiet moment with Nevaeh, and we learn bits about her just in those, like, however long the final scene is. She's hanging up pictures, like her brother, question mark, maybe.
I think, that guy that she was talking to on the FaceTime when she wanted to quit, that was her brother, I think, as well.
So we learn that he's in a wheelchair, and then we get other photos of her family, and then as well as getting the creepy, scary ending that is scary for the viewer. Oh, I thought it was so good. It's scary for us, but Nevaeh is, like, smiling, and she thinks it's, like, a nice gift. Because she reaches under her pillow, and there's the rose there, which we mentioned before, was something that Cassie fell while holding the rose.
Yeah, she had a rose, which her attacker brought for her.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought it was so well done. I loved this part of the show.
I'm very excited for someone to tell Nevaeh next week that,
God.
that wasn't a nice gift.
No.
Like, that note is super threatening.
It's so good, so subtle, so creepy, and it's all without saying a single word. You get all of this kind of information about her, this scary moment where someone maybe is, like, threatening because she gets the note that says, your turn to fly.
Yeah, which you could interpret as, like, a nice thing, but, like, since we know that we've had this
flattered.
had this flying metaphor in regards to Cassie's fall this whole time, so, like, we know that it's scary.
Yeah, but she thinks it's sweet, and, like, someone did that as a nice thing for her. Oh, so good. I thought that was genius. I loved that.
Yeah, literally everything you just said. Same.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was so beautiful and, like, so creepy. I created most of the questions for this episode before I watched it, and then after that I put that question in after because I was like, oh my god,
yeah, we need to separate it out.
That needs to be its own thing.
Yeah, so good. That was such a well done part of the episode.
So that brings us to the next question, which is, do we plan to continue watching this show?
I think so. I might, like, binge it over a week or so, just, like, out of curiosity to see where it goes and what happens, because there's only, like, 10 episodes. It's a really interesting idea, and I'm interested. So I think that I will. It's just not, like, at the very, very top of my list, like the first time I watched Money Heist, where I have to, like, give up my whole life in order to watch it. But it was good, and I think I probably will finish it.
That's good. Moira, how do you feel?
I definitely do plan to watch the rest of it, because, like, I need to know what happens now. But like Faye said, it's not at the top of my list. Like, I'm not gonna go do it today. It's gonna be whenever I feel like watching it all in one go in a couple weeks or so.
Yeah. I watched half of the next episode, like, right when I finished the first one.
Fair.
I watched, like, half of this one, and then I got called away from my computer for things that were happening. But then, like, today I didn't, like, immediately go back and finish that episode. I'm sure I will. I'm definitely interested, like you said. I really like that there's, like, a potential that Cassie could wake up and tell us who did this to her. Like, that's now a threat.
Or maybe, like, the person who did this to her might come back and kill her.
Yeah. Like, there's some extra stakes there that I wasn't expecting, so I'm excited to see how that plays out. But like you said, I'm not, like, rushing to watch it. Like, I have other things that I'm watching right now, and I have other things I really have to get done, so eventually I'll get back to this one.
We might have to, like, maybe take our own notes as we're watching it, and, like, maybe,
come back when
do, like, a recap. What we thought of the whole season once we're done or something.
Yeah, I agree. That would be fun. All right, and we're on to the other, so just anything else anyone wants to say?
Well, of course, I have to say that, like, as a thick person, I have to bring this up. The only not thin person in the show about physical perfection is this pain in the ass character that's, like, a stickler for the rules, which I don't love, of course.
Yeah.
I hope they do more with her than just make her, like, the big bad rule police, because she just, I don't know, it seems a little bit offensive to me that in this, I don't know.
You're talking about the teacher / person in charge of, like, the dorm, right?
Exactly, yeah. And she's the only one not in this, like, physically perfect state that the rest of them are in. So it just seems like such a...
involved in ballet. She's just, like, there to, like, keep the children supervised.
Exactly, yeah, and enforcing rules and stuff. So I just thought that I'd throw that out there. I hope that they make her into an actual character and not just a representation of, like,
Yeah,
big and bad and ugly.
Interested to learn more about her as a character. I feel like she actually knows a lot more than we know because she knew immediately that Bet and Scott, we think his name's Scott, were together. Like, Shane was not fooling her, so she obviously knows a lot more about the dorm than the kids think she does.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So totally. She probably knows about...
I'm curious to know if she knows anything else about Cassie and what happened. Because obviously someone lied and said all the kids were home in bed, and they weren't. So obviously she would have had to lie to the police and tell them that all the kids were in bed. But obviously they were not. So I am curious about her character, and hopefully we do see a more developed character from her, because
that would be great.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that up, just throw that out there. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that it gives me, like, Riverdale vibes as far as, like, putting in sex just for, like, the sake of it. The scene with... Oh, I wrote it down. Shane and Oren.
His name is Oren. I don't know how I got Scott. They say it through a whole bunch of times.
Yeah. It's a hard name to remember. Shane and Oren maybe shows that, like... Oren, like we mentioned, he is an out / maybe he's bi, and and of course, like, his body insecurity.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting when, like,
I think that was actually a really well done sex scene. Like, that actually was a sex scene that had purpose.
Exactly, it had purpose, and he's, like, admiring his, like, V shape or whatever, and
he's like, how do I get that? Like,
yeah. And Shane's like, we're supposed to be having, like, a moment. Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
And then Oren's also, like, really resistant to, like, an emotional connection. Like, it's like just sex, which seems interesting considering he was also sleeping with Bet. So, like, it's not like he has no outlet for sex.
Yeah. And so I like that scene at least had, like, a purpose, because I find, like, shows like Riverdale just put it in just to be, like, saucy, just to be kind of cool and hip, but the show is, in fact, listed under steamy, so I can forgive it for that.
Yeah, I think that the scene with Bet and Oren was more steamy and didn't serve as much of a purpose.
Yeah.
We got really close to seeing a girl's vagina. Like,
oh my gosh.
It was a real camera angle, like, save to not see her fully exposed, like...
Everything.
The camera was way down there. Which is fine, I guess, like...
I mean, yeah, it is listed under steamy, so, like, you are kind of prepared, but...
It is, again, a show about teenagers and, like, stuff, but... It seems like they're not, like, the way that Riverdale's teenagers are supposed to be. Like, you know... Riverdale's teenagers are really meant to feel more like teenagers, whereas exactly. These are like, they're teenagers, but they're professional athletes. They've got adult things happening with them.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that, you know, running 2 businesses and going to high school at the same time. It's adult things. In Riverdale, it feels like a different kind of vibe.
Yeah, totally.
That's
for sure.
Fair.
And I think it feels a little less exploitative somehow.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, those are the only 2 other things I wanted to mention.
I have another thing. It's a little bit silly.
That's okay.
In one of the dance class scenes, there's a mirror by the door, and it's super dirty and tarnished. Like, super
oh my god.
dirty. Just because it's old doesn't mean it needs to look gross and old. It's in a ballet class where they use the mirrors all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think that they'd have a specific person for that to clean off the mirrors.
It, like, looked tarnished and, like, old. And I'm like, just because it's old doesn't mean it needs to look old. Like, this is a ballet school. The mirrors get cleaned on a regular basis, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't even catch that at all.
It was the class where Bet and Shane were, like, dancing and they weren't doing great. Like, when they were all coming into that classroom and we saw them coming in the door, I'm like, why is that mirror beside the door so gross?
Yeah.
And then every time the camera was in that direction, I'm like, nope, that mirror is still gross. That is actually the mirror.
Yeah. Wow.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt the need to bring it to everyone's attention so everyone else can feel as bad about it as I do.
Yes. Yeah, they should. I mean, you'd think in the ballet school, like, they'd have someone specifically for that. That's your job.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure that that's high on the list of priorities for whoever's cleaning this building. Like, mirrors and everything. Like, everything has to be clean because they're doing some high-level athleticism in there.
Yeah, totally.
I literally wrote the other thing just because I needed to freak out about Brennan Clost, who plays Shane, because she was on the next step. I was so excited because he hasn't been in a ton of things. Mm-hmm. But I saw him and I had a meltdown. I was like, wait, who is this? Oh my god, it's from the next step.
Yeah, these shows where it's like a really specific like art type thing happening, like dance or, you know, or singing, stuff like that. Like they hire people that you don't usually see.
Yeah, like I always thought he's like one of the most beautiful dancers. Like he went to Juilliard for dance, and just the way he dances is so beautiful. And I was so excited that I got to see him in something else.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm so happy for him that he gets to be in this Netflix show and he gets to like act and dance, both like things that he loves. So that's so amazing. That was really awesome to see him.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, or are we moving on to under segments?
I'm good.
Okay, under segments it is then. So our first one is Love It or Lose It. Is there anything else? Do we want to do this week?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think that this is like the prime like
time.
It fits perfect. It fits perfectly with these, I think.
Perfect. Okay, so Love It or Lose It. Who wants to go first? That silence says I'm going first.
No, I felt like I was going first too much, so
that's fine. I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So I think my Love It is probably maybe Nabil. He wasn't around a whole lot, so I guess this was just like my time to like enjoy him. And
he's the one that's like he's French.
He's French.
Okay,
he's not.
okay.
We haven't seen very much of him because he doesn't really seem to be friends with anybody because he's French.
Right. I like him.
But he's like the top male dancer in the school, so all the girls like want to be partnered with him, and he was Cassie's partner because he was the best, and we're led to understand Cassie was the best. Mm-hmm. And so I just like him. I think he's probably just like a little bit lonely, and he's like portrayed. Everyone's like, oh my god, he's a psychopath. Like he definitely pushed her, and I'm hoping we're gonna find out that he's like just this like sweet kid with no friends.
Yeah, that's probably where they're going with it because it's way too obvious if he like her dancing partner pushed her off.
Yeah. Also, why would he? If they're both the best and they're gonna do a duet together, like why push her?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like there's no motivation for him to push her as far as we know. Anyway, I just liked him, and I like that his character exists, and I like the idea of someone who's like, yeah, he's the best, but he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
As though everyone in ballet isn't like a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And then my Lose It. I think maybe my Lose It is gonna be another character. And it's gonna be I think her name is Madame Dubois.
She's like the
headmistress or whatever. Mm-hmm. She runs the ballet school, and she just seems like she sucks. Like you know, like bringing in this girl, and it seems like maybe they picked a girl who like a woman of color to take this spot on purpose, so she could be like a human interest story. Like that's a really shitty thing to do.
Yeah, and she gives her like cue cards of what to say and like what her story is supposed to be. She just seems like she sucks. Definitely, yeah. I loved the music. I think the music is
really good.
Really good. And the dancing was really interesting and beautiful, of course, like you mentioned. And then my Lose It was like the whole mean girl trope. Like they're not only like horrible and mean, but it's also like a cliche to, you know, why do you always have to be nasty to the new girl who's probably better than you?
Yeah, I think in ballet that's just kind of somewhat the culture sometimes too.
Totally.
But like also like maybe make it a little bit more more interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're gonna do it, like do it, and if you're gonna redeem that, like maybe do it in a better way. It seemed like a dumb way to even consider it so far. I mean, who knows if she'll actually get.
You could have done with that.
Who knows if they're actually aiming for a redemption? But it seemed like they might be, and it just seemed like already off to a bad start on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
fair enough. Moira, love it, lose it.
My love it was the dancing, obviously. Mm-hmm. And my lose it was the scene that Faith talked about before with the, like, bone crushing the foot.
Yeah, that was real bad.
That was really awful. I had to look away.
Me too. I had to look away, but somehow it was like a car accident. Like, I just couldn't.
Mm-hmm. I know. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's in my brain forever now, and I don't want it to be.
Yep.
I know, yeah. That was really brutal.
Let's move on.
Okay. Yeah.
So our next one is our randomized rankings, where we choose 5 mainish characters at random and rank them. So our characters today I'm gonna try to do first and last names, but
I only in my ranking I only did first names.
Yeah, that's fine. So it was, our options were Nabil Lamadi, I think.
That sounded good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isabel Cruz, Bet Whitlaw, Caleb Wick, and Nevaeh Stroyer.
I had to look up who Caleb was before I did this.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I wasn't
But
sure either.
My ranking was Nevaeh, like from top to bottom.
Okay.
Nevaeh, Isabel, Nabil, Caleb, Bet at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah. I really like Nevaeh. I think she's really cool. I mean, obviously we're like set up to like her. And then of course like Bet is the actual
Sucky,
worst.
so.
Really crappy. So which one is even Isabel? I don't even remember.
She's the police officer lady.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I liked her. Yes.
Yeah.
I really like her and her
Me
whole...
too. I'm excited. I hope that she's, like, really involved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got a lot, like, of her own stuff going on, and you can see that she's, like, been through a lot, and
Yeah.
I'm really interested to find out more about her. She's really likable.
Yeah. So my listing was number 1, Nevaeh, then Isabel, then Nabil, then Bet, and then Caleb, because I barely remembered what he did.
Yeah.
Mine
know
was
him
the
yet.
same as Moira's as well.
Was he, like... We saw him a couple times, but did he, like, break up the little bit of a fight between Oren and Nabil?
I think, yeah, I think that was
think
I think so. That's the only, like, memorable kind of thing that he did in this episode.
I was
so.
like, I definitely know he was present, and I recognize the face when I look him up on IMDb,
he didn't
but
do
like,
anything.
I
Yeah.
don't remember what he's important for yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot. I also put Caleb at the bottom literally because I couldn't remember which one. I was looking because I had the list of people who we were going to talk about. I was like trying to keep track of those specific people. I was like, okay, what are these 5 characters doing? And I was like, I was really bummed that Shane didn't make it on the list, but the list was made randomly, so
Yeah, that's fair. Randomized, so...
so Caleb's on the bottom for me, but so I have the exact same list as Moira.
Okay. Yeah, I just, like, hate Mean Girls so much.
I'd rather rank a character I don't like higher than a character I don't know, if that makes sense.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Like,
if I don't like a character like that, then, like, I'm still gonna rank them if they're, like, doing things. If they're moving the plot forward, that might be enough to get them ranked up higher.
Okay, that's fair. That's really fair, for sure.
And anyway, so Moira and I had the same. So moving on to I Would Name My Kid That, which was the best baby names inspired by that media. We had a hard time with names this week. Did anyone like any names? There was a lot of names thrown at us, so...
I said June because
June's
I thought
cute.
it was so cute. Mm-hmm. And I liked her character, but I didn't actually really talk about her in this episode because there was just so much else.
Oh, there's so much.
But I liked her character, and I really like the name June.
Yeah, I think I like the name Nevaeh.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would name my kid the Heaven version of it, but I like her spelling, and I like the name in general, like what it sounds, like how it sounds. I like it, so I like that. And then I also like Isabel. Isabel is my grandma's name, so I've always really liked that name, and it probably will be like at least the middle name of a kid if I have a kid. So
That's really nice.
that was that. Yeah.
Now I'm embarrassed because we had to look up this character's name. I really like the name, Delia.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good
Yeah,
name.
that's really nice.
Now that we've talked about Scott not being named Scott but being named Oren, I actually kind of like that name too.
It is. It's one that I've never heard before.
And I don't
really
mind the name
nice name.
Nabil either.
Yes, I like that one
I
too.
like it.
We don't know Nabil. We know Nabil is French, but I feel like he's gonna end up being, like his family's gonna end up being Muslim or something like that. Like,
Oh yeah, because he
he
praying at some point.
I don't
Am
know.
crazy? Was he
I don't know.
praying on
So
the
much
rooftop?
happened in this
So
episode.
much information.
What? Because maybe I'm making that up. Maybe that's a different show entirely. But I felt like he was like walked in on praying on the rooftop and then someone left. Maybe that's not even true. But
Honestly, so much happened this episode.
Yeah.
Totally could have happened.
That could have happened, honestly. Anyway, so, like, my only point there is I have a thing about, like, ethnic names. Like, I don't want to name my kids any names
Right.
for
Yeah.
ethnicities that I'm not part of, unless it's, like, a somewhat common name to start with, or, like, it's cool. Yeah, I just feel a little bit weird about, like, naming white kids, which, you know, obviously I don't know what ethnicity my kids are going to be, because I don't have a partner, and also I want to adopt,
Right.
so, like, that will be a factor as well.
Right.
But...
Yeah.
So yeah, so I have reservations about doing that if my kids are as white as I am.
yeah, that's
That's
fair.
fair.
But I really
But it's
do
still
like
a nice
the name
name, for
I
sure.
like the
Yeah,
name
yeah.
Nabil a lot.
before we end, I thought, while we were talking, I thought it'd be cool to, what if we say as a prediction, like, who we think pushed her?
Oh, that's fun too. I'm so glad that you thought of that.
Sorry to put you guys on the spot, but yeah, I thought that would be
That's really fun.
interesting.
Do you want to go first?
I am gonna say Caleb, because we don't know him,
Yeah,
and he's really in the background, and it's a little bit obvious for, like, Bet to have done it. She's so mean.
Yeah.
Maybe June. I feel like they might be going in that direction. But I'll just throw it out and say Caleb.
We really don't know.
I know, we don't know anything about him.
Yeah. And we also know that, like, pretty much everyone disliked Cassie, too, so, like...
Yeah, true.
The doors are wide open. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I have nothing to base this on, but maybe Shane. If Cassie was as awful as Bet is, like, it's not unreasonable to think that maybe...
Ooh.
That'd be an interesting
Maybe
plot
other
twist for
people
sure.
maybe other people were as awful to Shane as Bet is, you know? Just because I feel I got a male vibe from the person in the hood, but who knows? The person in the hood could literally have been like an extra or a producer.
Exactly. So it's not too obvious.
Necessarily have to be the actor or actress responsible, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're, like, trying to make us think it might be June.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be, like, someone that you watch and you're like, oh my god, no way. Like, I don't think...
Do you want to put a name down? Throw a name out there?
I don't know who it's gonna be yet.
Throw a name out there. It's just
Come
for fun.
on, make a prediction.
I literally said Shane, who's, like, the only person we know who, like, probably had no motive to do it. So.
Exactly, and is, like, the most likable one.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna end up being Nevaeh at the beginning.
Oh.
I thought it was gonna be, like, she wanted to get into school, but then the ending scene happened, so, like, I'm less feeling that now, but...
Right.
Interesting prediction, either way.
Okay.
That was fun. Glad we did that.
Yeah, I was
was a fun
thinking
thing to
that
add.
while we were talking. Because then if we do like a recap of what we thought about it, if we
That'd
do
be fun
end
to
up
have
watching
something.
it, yeah, to be like, oh my god, I can't believe we were so thrown off.
Yeah. All right, so that was it for this week. Let us know what you thought. If you're going to watch this show, or if you aren't going to watch the show, let us know if you liked this episode. If you maybe tried to watch this show and then our episode made you change your mind about not watching it.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, we want to know everything you thought about us and our episode. And you can let us know all of those thoughts by getting in touch with us either on our social media or by email. Our email is seriesofopinionspod@gmail.com. And we are at Series of Opinions Pod on Tumblr and Instagram. And we are at Series of Opinion with no S on Twitter. And you can find me at Life Messes of KJ on everything, including now TikTok.
Wow, she's on TikTok.
Yeah, that's new
I
this
will
week.
be following you. Can't wait for that content. You can find me at Miss Faith Ann across everything, but not TikTok. And at Faith Ann Art for all of my art.
And you can find me at Moira_Frisk on everything.
And we will be back next week with an episode about some women in Marvel.
Yay!
Thank you to Faith Ebert for our logo. You can find her other art things at Faith Ann Art. This episode was written, produced, and recorded by us. It was edited by editing Moira and editing KJ. And we will be back next week.
Bye!
Bye!
Bye!